So we're asked to solve 27 to the power of x equal 1 over x. And to help us, we're going to utilize the Lambert's doubly formula, which we have a function w of x times e to the power of x, which is equal to x. So in fact, if we have, for instance, w as a function of 3 ln y, for instance, of times e to the power of 3 ln y, then what do you think our solution is based on the Lambert's doubly formula? Notice that what quantity we have here is the same as the power, so that's the solution. What quantity we have in front of e? 3 ln y, and that's the same as the power, so that's the solution, 3 ln y. That's a concept that we're going to be using to help us with this. Okay, now first off, let us try to make this side 1, but let's rewrite this as 3 to the power of 3, that's 27. And 27, or 3 to the power of 3, raised to the power of x, that's power to power, so that's 3 times x, which is 3x. Now to make this 1, we're going to multiply by x. Any quantity multiplied by its reciprocal is 1. So if we reciprocate 1 over x, which is going to be x over 1, multiplying them will give us 1. So multiplying this side by x over 1, its reciprocal will give us 1. But we also need to multiply this side as well by x over 1, which is the same thing as x. So we can leave that as x times 3 to the power of 3x. Alright, you might be saying, okay, why we don't put the 3 in front? Okay, well, here's what we want to do. We could, but we don't have to do that at this time. Let's do something different instead. Let us now try to get this form. Once we can get this form, then we are in good business. So we're going to take, let's write by the x, we're going to take this quantity and raise it with a base of e. But that wouldn't be the same as this, so we have to use ln in front of it. Now once we have ln with e raised to the power of ln, they will actually cancel out. Okay, so let me just show you why. So let's say we have e to the power of ln x, then our answer is going to be x, because e raised to ln will cancel each other out. Alright, of course there's a simple way to explain that, but we just want to show you the form. We can move on from there. This is the same as this, because e to the ln will cancel, leaving us with just the 3 to the 3x power. Okay, next. We can actually write this. Let's say we have ln of x raised to the y power. We can take the y and put it in front. So this will actually give us y ln x. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take this 3x and put it in front. So we're going to have x times e raised to, put in the 3x in front of ln. We have 3x ln 3 equals 1. And whenever you're writing the ln, don't write it so close to the edge. It should be a little bit over, but it's just because I didn't write it at the beginning. Alright, so now that we have this, remember our goal is to get this format. So let's do that. The quantity that I have here, I do not have it here. However, notice that the x here is here already. I can actually get this quantity here if I multiply this by 3 ln 3. So let's do that. 3 times ln 3 times x, put the x in the midst of it. So notice that I now have this 3x ln 3. I mean, I could have put the x at the beginning or at the end, but having it in the same format helps you to see that we have the same thing in the power. But if I multiply this side here, by 3 ln 3, I have to multiply this side as well by 3 ln 3. Now notice that this is looking similar to this, where the quantity before E and the power of E are the same. So this quantity here and this quantity here are basically the same, right? 3x ln 3. So I'm going to take W as a function of that quantity to introduce the Lambert's doublet formula. And do the same thing to this side. W as a function of this side, which works out to be 3 ln 3. And then next, now once I have this quantity being the same as this, with W being the function, and we have E here, then we can just simply take this as our solution, right? 3x ln 3 for this side. That's the format. Once these are the same, that's the solution. These are the same, so that's the solution. Equal W 3 ln 3. Now I want to solve for x. So I must get rid of the 3 and the ln 3. So I'm going to divide, since 3 and ln 3 are multiplying x, I'm going to divide by 3 ln 3. But I have to do it to both sides. 3 cancel 3, ln 3 cancel ln 3, leaving us with x equal W of 3 ln 3. Then we have 3 ln 3 in the denominator. Okay, the next step is to rewrite the numerator in this form as well, because that would help us to simplify even further. But how are we going to do that? We have to use a super calculator to get this. In some cases you may have to. Your regular calculators, standard calculators can't even use in some cases. So let us see if we can actually get it to simplify. So we don't need a W there. So what we can do, let's take ln 3 as a power and raise it by a base E. And so what we now have here is E raised in ln 3, but E raised in ln 3, or e to the power of ln 3, is simply 3. So this quantity here and this quantity here, we have have the same value. So this is same as this. This is equal to 3. So as this is 3, as we have here, we need ln 3. So we simply multiply by ln 3. So in other words, this numerator is the same value as this numerator. Let's write by the denominator. But do you notice what we have done? Well, once we have it in this format again, Lambert's doublet format, then we can simply remove the W and the E by looking at what we have here and here being the same, which is ln 3. Writing back the denominator, we now can simplify. Notice it's saying 3 times ln 3, and this is really saying ln 3 times 1, right? So this cancels into itself once, this goes into itself once, and so we're left with what? 1 divided by 3 ones 3. So x is really 1/3. Quite different, right? However, notice that you want to check your solution. If x is 1/3, what is the value of this side? It should be the same as the value of this side. But let's check this side first. 27 to the power of 1/3. The power that we have here is 1/3. In the denominator, we call that our root. So we're looking at the third root. The third root of 27 to the first power. Third root of 27 to a power of 1, which is same as 27. The third root is really same as cube root. So the cube root of 27 is simply 3. In other words, 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. And if we do the same thing to the other side, we have 1 over x. And 1 over x means 1 over the value of x. The value of x we found was 1/3. This is simply saying the inverse of 1/3, or the reciprocal of 1/3, which would be 3, as we have here. So both sides will be the same. Or if you want to multiply this by 3, multiply by 3, same thing do to the numerator, do to the denominator. And so in the numerator we have 3 ones, which is 3, and 1/3 of 3 is 1. 3 divided by 1 is 3. Alright, if you want to see further, we can say 3 and 3 goes 1, 3 and 3 goes 1. So we have 1 in the denominator. Do you notice that both sides balance? So definitely, we know our solution is correct.